So just closing the eyes, turning the attention inward, shutting out the busyness and chaos of the day. And taking 2 deep cleansing breaths. So take a nice big inhale through the nose and exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. And one more nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then soften the muscles of the face. Relax the muscles of the neck and the shoulders. And then turn the attention to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. And then we'll begin a nice, even breathing, inhaling and exhaling to a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And just continue with this nice, even breathing. If at any time it makes you lightheaded or dizzy, just go back to your own normal breathing pattern. And then we also set an intention for each practice to help remind us why we are here. So that may be a benefit you would like to receive, or just an uplifting or a positive thought or phrase. So think of an intention that you'd like to have for your practice today. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. If you do have your legs crossed and you'd like to switch them, go ahead and do that. And then we'll begin the warm-up by turning our heads to look out over that right shoulder. And coming back to center and turning to look out over the left. And back to center, dropping the chin to the chest. And then picking the chin up towards the ceiling and jutting that lower jaw out. And coming back to center and dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center and left ear to left shoulder. And back to center, extending the hands out in front, open and close the fingers. And then some wrist circles. and reverse. And bringing the hands down to the lap and focusing on the shoulders as we do some shrugs. Just picking those shoulders up and pulling them back down. And then the next time you pick the shoulders up, roll them to the back. So some nice easy shoulder rolls. And then bringing the shoulders back to neutral, extending the elbows out to the side, bringing the fingertips together. And then keeping the torso still, just lift and lower each elbow. Just alternating. It's called bird wings. So that's what we're working on, our wings, those scapulas. Good. And then coming back to center, relax the arms down. Take your right hand, bring it to the outside of that right hip. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, and exhale as you bend to the right. And then inhale, center, switch arms, sweep that right arm up, and exhale, bend to the left. Inhale, center, release the right arm, coming into a twist. Take the left hand, place it on the right knee. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and then exhale, bring that right hand around behind you as you turn and look to the right. And then inhale back to center, switch sides, so right hand on the left knee. Take another nice big inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, turn and look to the left. And then inhale back to center, releasing the twist. And then if you did have your legs crossed, just extending those legs out in front and shake them out a little bit. And then taking your hands, placing them behind the right thigh, and then pulling the knee in towards you and extending it out. So warming up the knee and the quad, and hamstring a little bit too. And then the next time you pull that knee in, hold it there, point and flex the foot. Warm up the ankles. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. And switching legs, same thing on the left, pulling that knee in and extending it out. And the next time you pull it in, hold it there, point and flex the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. Good. And then coming onto hands and knees, opening up your blanket to pad those knees and shins. That's down. And as you come into hands and knees to prepare for cat-cow, keeping the wrists right underneath the shoulders, knees are stacked under the hips, about hip width apart. And with an inhale, lifting the chest and the sits bones, arching the spine. And with your exhale, press into the hands, rounding the upper back, tucking the chin for cat. And then inhale, back to cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more, inhale. And exhale. Good. Coming back to center and then coming into child's pose. So pushing the hips back to the heels, supporting the head by stacking your fists or grabbing your block and resting the forehead. Go ahead and take a few breaths here. And then placing the block to the side, if you use your block, extending the arms out in front of you, pushing back up to hands and knees. We'll come into either puppy pose, which is staying here on your knees, extending the arms, dropping the chest down, or downward facing dog. So today I'll come into down dog. We're going to press in the index fingers and the thumbs at the base of the thumbs, curl your toes. With the inhale, as you lift the hips, then press into the hands so you can extend through the arms and the shoulders. Keep a bend in the knee because we're just warming up those hamstrings. I like to do a little what we call walk the dog. So just bending one knee and then straightening the other. Again, warming up the hamstrings or holding. Remember to breathe. Good. And then with your exhale, come back down to the mat or bring the knees down. Now, grab your blocks. Hopefully you have 2 blocks each. And we're going to come into a lunge. Now, we've used the lunge before for twists and really balancing, things like that. Today we're going to focus on stretching through the front of the thigh. So turn your blocks up to the highest height. This will make it easier to come into the lunge. Shift the weight to the left. Pick up that right knee and bring that right foot forward. Now, I want you to kind of use your toes to walk your foot forward a little bit. I'm going to put that block aside so you can see what I'm doing. And then you're going to shift your hips forward. That's why you walked your foot forward, because you still want your knee over your ankle. But do you see how far my hips are from my knee? Because my back knee, because I've dropped my hips down. So I am feeling a really nice stretch in the front of that left thigh. And that's what we want to focus on, what's called the psoas. It's that muscle that tightens from sitting all day. So I'm going to give you an option here. You can stay here, getting a nice stretch, or you can deepen it a little bit. Now, this is going to depend on your flexibility, so listen to your body. If this is too much, just come back to here. You're still getting a great stretch. Otherwise, we're going to take the right hand, and now you're going to bring it to the inside of the right foot. And I'm going to walk my foot out, my right foot, to the edge of the mat. You see how I did that? Now, I'm going to turn the block so it's now at this height, that kind of medium height. And I'm going to bring my forearms down to the blocks. At the same time, if you can, I'm going to roll onto the outside of my right foot. So do you see how that opens up that hip? Again, very important to listen to your body. This is a pretty intense stretch for the hips. If this is too much, then back off, okay? But supporting your forearms on the blocks kind of bring you to that midway point, as opposed to if you're really flexible, you may be able to bring your forearms down to the mat. But the problem there is your back starts to round. So this way you're supported and still getting that great stretch. All right, go ahead and turn the blocks up, bring yourself back up, walk that foot in. Let's change sides. Step that right foot back, try it on the left. Hopefully you can see this. So by walking that left foot forward a little bit, when I drop those hips forward, then my knee again is over my ankle. So I'm feeling a nice stretch now in the front of that right thigh. You see how far my hips are in front of my right knee. Good. And then just try to use the blocks to keep the torso lifted. Continue to breathe. Again, staying here as an option, or if you want to deepen the stretch, now bringing the left hand to the inside of the left foot, so now your arms are together, turning the blocks. Your left foot, you've walked out to the edge of the mat, and then kind of roll, if you can, if your hip's okay to do this, roll onto the outside or the pinky toe side of that left foot and come down, resting your forearms on the blocks. And continue to breathe. Good. And then using the blocks to help support you to push the torso up, you can turn them down to the high level, bring that left hand to the outside of the left foot, walk your left foot back to center. And then bring the left foot back. And from here, we're going to come up to standing. So actually, you could have left your left foot there, but whatever foot helps you, then curl the back toes and come on up to standing. All right, go ahead and put your blanket to the side. We will need one block to start, and you're also going to need your chair. So I'm going to grab my chair here and just put it at the top of the mat. We'll get to that in a moment. So grabbing one of your blocks, we're going to start by standing in Tadasana. We're going to use the block. Once in a while, I always like to throw the block in here to kind of focus on our leg strength. So now we're going to use that narrow width of the block. And you're going to place it between the thighs. So between the knees and the pubic bone is where you want to place the block. And then walk your feet a little closer together. So if you normally stand with your feet about hip width, you're just going to take a little step inward. So that way you can feel those inner thighs pressing on the block. You're still going to find the four corners of the feet, lifting up through the arches. You're going to feel that your thighs are already tight because you're pressing against the block. Arms alongside the body, a few inches away from it. Lift and tighten the abdominals. Focus on the spine, lengthening up from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. And then lifting the shoulders, rolling them down the back so that the chest is lifted. And you're gazing forward, coming back to a nice, even breathing. And just take a few breaths. And then from here, we're going to come into chair pose. So I'll give you an option for your arms. With the inhale, you can either bring your arms up to shoulder height, or you can bring them up towards your ears. Remember, the higher you bring your arms, then you're not going to be able to come down as deep into the pose, okay? All right, so come back to Tadasana, pick where you want your arms. With your inhale, I'm gonna come up, and then exhale, push the weight back in the hips. Of course, you're squeezing that block with the inner thighs. Still glance down, make sure you can see your toes. Good, and continue to breathe. Good, and then with the inhale, come on back up. Relax it out. Go ahead and release your block. And then you're going to take your chair. You're going to bring it to the side of your mat, so the long side of the mat. And make sure you have, just in the middle of the mat, make sure you have at least the front legs on the mat, because we don't want this moving. I think you can see me all right since the back of the chair is out, but we're going to come into wide leg forward fold. Now we'll use the chair. If you're really flexible, you're welcome to pick up a block and use the block, or possibly bring your hands to the floor, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and use the chair. So we're going to start in this wide stance. Now, you want to bring your legs as wide as you can. Remember our star pose where we bring the arms out to the side? Ideally, if you can try to get your ankles just about under your wrists, but again, be safe. So you want to work strongly, but safely. So as wide as you can. And then bring those hands to those leg creases, because that's where you're going to bend. All right, adjust your chair if you need to. Make sure it's not too close. Then we'll take a nice big inhale to lengthen. With your exhale, bending here from the hip. I'm going to begin to bring my torso forward. Think of lowering your chest first, so your back stays perfectly straight. When you get to about 45 degrees or so, go ahead and place your hands on the chair. Now, if your hamstrings are tight, then keep a little bend in the knees. I also pick my heels up and take them to the outside, so my feet are turned inward a little bit. That will also help in this particular pose. Now, if you're okay here, the key here is watching this low back. Make sure that you don't round it. Go ahead and bring the forearms to the chair as long as you can come down and not round through that low back. So if you feel that rounding starting, then come back up here, because that's the important part. So wherever you are, forearms or hands, just go ahead and take a few breaths. Good. And then placing the hands back on the chair, go ahead and lift the torso to about 45 degrees. Bring the hands back to the hips or here in the leg crease, and then lift the torso. And then from here, you're going to walk your feet in until you can step them together. Take your chair, bring it back to the short end of the mat or the top of the mat. And take a block and place it on your chair. You may or may not use the block. I'll give you that as an option. And then facing the seat of the chair, we're going to come into Warrior One, and then a pose that I call Stargazer. So facing the chair, shift the weight over to the left, bend the right knee, step the right foot back. As you press that right heel down, bend the left knee. So remember, in Warrior One, you want to keep that right foot almost facing forward, maybe at about a 20-degree angle, because the hips need to stay forward. So pull that left hip back, push that right hip forward. Having the arms alongside the body. Inhale, sweep those arms up, gazing forward. Good. To give you a little stability, try tightening that right glute. Good. Now, with the exhale, bring the arms around behind you, right at that low back. Just cross the arms. Hold on to the opposite forearm. When you inhale, then you're going to straighten the left knee. So again, you're going to pay attention to your hamstrings. Make sure that you're just coming into a deep stretch. If you start to feel discomfort or pain, then back off. All right, here we go. Inhale to lengthen. Then with the exhale, again, bending from the hip, keeping the back straight, coming forward as you exhale. You're going to feel this mainly in that left hamstring. Continue to breathe. Good. And then as you inhale, come on back up. Now this is a little balance part. Here's the stargazer part. With your next inhale, see if you can lift the chest a little bit and just look up. Good. And then exhale back to center. Release the arms. And then as you inhale, just step that right foot forward. We'll try it on the other side. So weight shifts over to the right leg. Bend that left knee. Again, as you step the left foot back, don't go too far back because you want to step the left heel down. At the same time, bend the right knee, have it right over the ankle. Have those hips squared to the seat of the chair. Arms alongside the body. With your inhale, sweep those arms up. Good. Tighten the left buttock. Continue to breathe. If this bothers your shoulders, you're always welcome. You could just bring the hands to prayer. Here, always options. Good. And then with the exhale, you're going to sweep those arms down. Again, cross them behind you. With the inhale, this time straighten the right leg. Lengthen up. And with the exhale, begin to come forward. So by keeping the hands or the arms behind us, it prevents us from rounding the back because we're opening up through the chest. So the chest comes forward first. Remember to bend from the hip. Continue to breathe. And then with your next inhale, lift the torso back to center. Exhale it out, and we'll come into our stargazer. So inhale, lift the chest, looking up. Tighten those quadriceps or the front of the thighs. That'll give you a little stability. Good. And then exhale, release it out, uncross the arms. Inhale as you step forward. And then just walk it out, kind of shake it out a little bit. And then we're going to come into twisted triangle. So I'll show you two options, using the chair or using a block. So since I have two blocks, I'm going to put one on the floor. All right, so we're going to start by facing the chair. I'll start with the chair option, and then I'll show you how to do it with the block too. So face your chair. And you're going to come into the same stance that we had for the stargazer or that hamstring stretch. So let's start by shifting the weight into the left leg, bend the right knee, step that right foot back. Now you don't want too wide of a stance, and you may have to bring the chair a little bit in front or forward. Now, as you inhale, lengthen through the spine, exhale from those leg creases. So you're going to begin to come forward. Take your right hand, place it. If you have a block on the chair, you could do that. You could just do the chair, put your hand on the chair, or you could use a block. Let's see how much farther I come down for that. And then you're going to begin to turn the body to the left. So if I'm here on the chair, I'm here. As I exhale, my lower right ribs are turning to the left, and then I'm extending my left arm up. So to decide, oh, do I need a block? Do I not need a block on the chair kind of thing? It depends on that left leg. Can you keep the leg straight as you're turning? Good. And then exhale, bring the left arm down, bend the left knee as you step that right foot forward. All right, I'm going to use the block on the floor this time, so I'll show you that. Again, it's going to depend on that front leg. If you find that you have to keep a bend in the knee, then try using the chair, bringing the torso up a little bit. All right, so here we go. Facing the chair, shift the weight to the left, bend that right knee as you step the right, oh, I'm sorry, wrong leg. I'm like, we just did that. Shift the weight to the right leg, bend the left knee, step that left foot back. There we go. And then inhale. So I've got both legs straight. My hips are facing forward. With my exhale, bending from the hip, bringing the torso forward. And then as I begin to turn to the right, my left hand will come down. I'm going to use the block this time. So I want to bring the block so that when I extend my right arm up, my shoulders are pretty much stacked one over the other. Good, so you can try the block, but again, it depends on that front leg, on the hamstring. Bring your left hand to the chair if you need to. And then you want to open up through that right shoulder and chest. Good. Come back to your nice, even breathing. Good. And then with the exhale, release that right arm, bend the right knee, step that left foot forward. All right. Go ahead and walk it out a little bit. And then we're going to come down to the mat. And you'll want to come onto your hands and knees. So we're going to come into plank pose. And I will show you the options for plank. Remember, you can lower yourself down, do plank on your forearms, have the elbows under the shoulders, keep the knees on the mat, just lift the hips. If you're okay here, curl the toes, lift the knees and the hips, or plank, come forward a little bit, on the hands. Okay, so I want you to pick one of those options, whatever is best for you. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. You're just going to hold plank for as long as you can. Take a break if you need to, and then try it again. All right, here we go. Ready? Begin. Now make sure you've tightened your abdominals. That will support that low back. Try to keep the shoulders knees and hips in a straight line. So I see this a lot, kind of a half down dog thing. Drop the hips down and breathe. Good. And then exhale, bring your knees to the mat if you have them lifted. If you are on your forearms, push yourself back up into child's pose. If you're on your hands, just push into child's pose. And just take a few breaths here. And then with the inhale, go ahead and lift the torso. Grab your blanket, and we're going to come back to the chair. We're going to come into camel pose, which is a back bend, and we'll use the chair for that. So just slide your chair onto the mat. Again, depending on your surface, you just don't want the chair to move. So I usually put at least the front legs, maybe the back also. And then have your blanket folded in front of the chair. You're going to turn so that your back is facing the front of the chair. And we're going to be kneeling. And then you'll have to see, as far as where the chair needs to be, you should be able to just reach your hands back and hold on to the seat of the chair. That's a pretty good estimate. All right, so facing forward. And again, my shoulders, hips, and knees are all stacked in a line just like you were in Tadasana. And then take a nice big inhale to lengthen. As you exhale, begin to lean back, bring your hands to the chair, maybe a little farther back, and then bending from the mid-spine, lifting the chest, looking up. Try to keep your hips over the knees as much as you can. Now, if that's uncomfortable to drop your head back, then just keep the neck supported in line with the spine. The main thing here is lifting the chest and focusing on that mid-spine. Good, and then with the inhale, go ahead and release and come back into child's pose. If you want to walk your knees forward, just to release that low back. And then with the inhale, go ahead and lift the torso. You want to sweep your low legs to the side so that you can bring your hips down to the mat. And then we'll just push the chair to the side. Go ahead and fold your blanket. And you're welcome to sit on the blanket for our twist, or you can sit on your block. Actually, I'll go ahead and sit on the block. If you do have a second block, you can also put that block behind you. This will also facilitate the twist. So we're going to start by extending the legs, and then we'll keep the left knee bent, or left knee straight. We're going to bend the right knee, slide that right foot in, and hug that knee in as close as you can. So we're going to be turning to the right. So take a nice big inhale, and then with your exhale, these lower left ribs are going to turn first to the right. Bring your right hand around behind you on your second block, if you have that, and wrap your your left arm around that right knee and hug it in as you turn. Now, if you can pull the right knee in, close enough, you can take the back of the left arm and place it on the outside of the right knee. Use your right hand to support that spine. So you're pressing into the right hand to lengthen. And then as you exhale, turn and look to the right. And continue to breathe. And then exhale, release, come back to center. Straighten the right leg. We'll try it on the left. So sliding the left in towards you. Good. Sitting up nice and tall. Take a nice big inhale to lengthen. As you exhale, pull that left knee in, wrap the right arm around it. Bring the left hand around behind you. If you've got that block, it'll be on the block. If you can, bringing the back of the right arm to the outside of the left knee. And then turning and looking to the left. Again, supporting the spine is the main thing here, keeping the back straight. So pressing into that left hand, use it as a little kickstand. Good, and then exhale as you release the twist. And then from here, we're going to come down on our backs. So make sure you have your strap and anything else that you need for Savasana, because then we'll go into Savasana. So an extra blanket, bolster, socks, anything like that. So coming off your block and then lowering yourself down to the mat, rolling on your side. So we're going to come into Supta Pandangusthasana 1, which is, again, a hamstring stretch. It's actually a forward fold, but a supine one on your back. So go ahead and with the knees bent, we'll start with the left knee bent, but you're going to pick up the right knee, bring it in towards you, and then place your strap on the ball of the right foot. And then as you begin to extend the leg, just let the strap go with your leg. When your leg is extended, so I'm feeling this behind my knee, then I'm going to walk my hands up the strap, pull my shoulders down the back, press my right thigh away from me. So I'm feeling a nice stretch. Now, where your leg is not important. It may be right here. It's wherever your leg needs to be that you feel this stretch. Again, making sure there's no discomfort or pain. Now, keep the left knee bent if you need to support your low back. If your low back is okay, then you can extend that left leg down the mat. And continue to breathe. So with the hamstring stretching we did standing, maybe you'll notice that you're a little more flexible here. Good. And then with your next exhale, bend that right knee, remove your strap, and we'll try it on the other side. So taking that left knee, bringing it in towards you so you can put the strap on the ball of the left leg. And again, just extending, walking your hands up the straps, pulling the shoulders down the back. Press the thigh away from you, either keeping the right foot on the mat or extending the right leg. And if you extend the leg, then press through the right heel. So a lot to think about here. And returning to your even breathing. Good. And then with your exhale, just bend that left knee. Remove your strap. And then bending the right knee so that both feet are on the floor. Just picking the knees up, pulling them in towards your chest, hugging it in. If you like to rock side to side, go ahead and do that. Coming back to center, placing your hands on your knees and just doing some knee circles here, extending the arms, pulling the knees back in. And reverse. And as you come back to center, then pull the right knee in towards your chest as you extend the left leg. Just hug that right knee in, flex your foot. Good. And then switch. So hug that left knee in, extend the right leg. Good. And then as you extend that left leg, we'll come into Savasana. As you lay in Savasana, I'm going to come up to a seated position, but you stay laying down. So as you get comfortable extending those legs out in front of you, arms come back alongside the body, and maybe a few inches away from it, rotating the palms up so that those shoulders roll down the back. And then closing the eyes, turning the attention back to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. With your next inhale, let the abdomen rise first. Then the chest, filling the lungs all the way up to the collarbones. And with your exhale, let the collarbones fall first, then the chest, and then the abdomen, drawing the navel to the spine. And just continue with a few of these nice deep breaths. Then focus on the physical body. Relax all the muscles from the feet, all the way up to the crown of the head. Release any tension or tightness. Focus on the mind. Release Release any thoughts, worries, or anxieties. Imagine yourself in a place that brings you peace. Give yourself just a few moments to completely let go. Begin to deepen your breath. And then start moving your fingers and toes. And then the wrists and the ankles. And when you're ready, bending both knees and rolling onto your right side in a seated position, or a fetal position, I'm sorry. And take a few breaths here. And then using your left hand to support you, pushing yourself back up into a seated position. And keeping the body relaxed and the eyes closed for another moment. Focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. And then we'll take one more deep cleansing breath. So take a nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Namaste.